Supreme Court proceeds with application filed by Polye. O'Neill highlights Papua New Guinea's economy in Paris. And gaming boards 250,000 kina backing for the PNG Kapuls.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Genia.
Good evening, great to have your company for Thursday's news. Chief Justice Sir Salamo Injia has agreed to expedite an application filed by opposition leader Don Polye on the vote of no confidence in Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. The Chief Justice told Polye's lawyer Loani Henau in court today to identify the parties involved in this matter so court files can be served accordingly. Henau later explained in a news conference that provisions upon which the application is made has not been interpreted correctly by governments.
The application was filed yesterday to ask the courts to order the Parliament Speaker to recall Parliament to debate the motion of no confidence. This comes after the opposition were denied 4 votes of no confidence. The first was motioned on 28 October 2015. Henau explained that Section 145 of the Constitution allows for a vote of no confidence. This, he says, means any vote of no confidence can be debated on the floor of Parliament, regardless of the number of parliamentarians on the opposition side of the House.
The provision of vote of no confidence is one of the key pillars in the democratic system of government that is enshrined under the Constitution. That is the only provision where the executive arm of a government's ability or its inability to be tested on the floor of Parliament in terms of governing the affairs of this country.
Opposition leader and appellant Don Polye was happy with the outcome of his application. Polye filed the application on 6 grounds. They include the current state of economy and the recent shooting of students from the University of Papua New Guinea.
And on a Wednesday, when the students were just getting on buses to come there, I do not want people in PNC to see them as students are doing it. We have to look at the bigger cause. Freedom of expression, free to speak, free to talk, without any fear or favor, without being intimidated or threatened.
Chief Justice Salamo Injia has indicated that the application will be heard in the next 2 weeks. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Director of National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate Matthew Damaru was arrested this afternoon. He is now being questioned at the Internal Investigation Unit here in Port Moresby. Damaru's arrest is in relation to the arrest of the National and Supreme Court Judge Justice Sir Bernard Sakora in April. The Waigani Committal Court has found sufficient evidence to move the case involving former Lands Secretary Romilly Kilipat and 2 other former Lands employees to a higher court. Senior Magistrate Cosmas Bitter told the 3 accused that when their case returns to court in July, their lawyers will make submissions on the sufficiency of evidences. The 3 were charged for conspiracy and misappropriation last year.
The other 2 Lands officials are former Finance and Budget Manager Vavine Wallo and former Corporate Director Simeon Andrew. All 3 were present in court this morning with their lawyers. They were told that the evidence revolves around the 3 conspiring to defraud the state. It is alleged that the 3 applied to use over 200,000 kina from the Lands Reformed Trust account in October 2015. The court found that on 3 September 2015, Kilipat was suspended as Lands Secretary following an NEC decision, but approved the 280,000 kina check on the 14th of September, that is 11 days after his suspension. The 3 will be relying on Section 96 of the District Court Act, which allows them to submit affidavits for the courts to consider on the sufficiency of the evidence which were already presented in court. The accused are out on 2,000 kina bail each, and their matter returns to court on July 29th. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The lawyer accused of shooting his wife to death last month applied for another bail application at the Waigani National Court but was again rejected today. Deputy Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika said the story of the shooting appeared to be strange and refused the application in the interest of justice. Felix Kange was originally charged for manslaughter on May 30, but the charge was upgraded to murder on June 9. The application today was the first for his murder charge and the second for both charges.
3 affidavits were presented in court for the bail application. 1 was from Kange and 2 from eyewitnesses. According to Kange's statement on the summary of facts, at around 8 o'clock on the night of May 14, the accused and his late wife, Regina Morove, their son, and Regina's cousin sister and her boyfriend were preparing to go for dinner at a hotel. His wife and her sister were doing their makeup in the room when Kange walked in, opened the drawer next to his wife and pulled out his pistol. From the summary of facts, Kange pushed the magazine in and the pistol accidentally went off and shot his wife. The court found this story to be strange and questioned why he had gone into the room when 2 women were grooming. The court also questioned why he needed the gun and why he had to load it in front of people. Sir Gibbs Salika ruled that Kange had stated nothing of what had happened before 8 p.m. He also ruled that the accused did not state the timings of when the gun went off, when Morove was taken to the hospital, then the funeral home, and when Kange registered the complaint at the police station. The court rejected Kange's plea that he needed to come out to pay his employee's salary and that if he is still in police custody, his children will suffer. Basenata Yama, National EMTV News.
2 former senior police officers appeared before Senior Magistrate Cosmas Bida at the Waigani Committal Court this morning. Former Police Commissioner Jeffrey Vaki appeared for conspiracy, while former NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Andy Bauer appeared for stealing and abuse of office. Both are different cases. They were both adjourned to next month for further directions.
Vaki's case was adjourned to July 15th because his lawyer told the court his files were only served recently and he needed more time to compile a response. This case relates to allegations that in June 2014, Vaki, acting as the then police commissioner, had conspired with very senior ministers and others to defeat the cause of justice. It is alleged that Vaki prevented police officers from arresting the Prime Minister following allegations of their involvement in facilitating legal fees for a well-known law firm. For the former NCD Metsup, he was told that his files were ready and will be served in the coming days. Bauer was charged for 3 counts of stealing and abuse of office. The allegations are, between August and September 2015, Bauer stole over 80,000 kina, money allocated for the security operations for the 2015 Pacific Games. It was also alleged that Bauer received some allowance from a provincial administrator but failed to account for that money. That money was also allocated for the Pacific Games. Vaki's case will return to court on 15 July, while Bauer's case will be next mentioned on 29th July. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister addresses business forum in Paris. Bougainville leaders set referendum date and a senior female police officer leads a parade in Bougainville. Those stories and more after the break. Welcome back to Thursday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill began the first France-PNG Business Forum by highlighting political stability and economic growth that makes it ideal for foreign investment. He addressed about 200 senior business people in Paris on Wednesday. Mr. O'Neill said what he did in Paris this week was to ensure the French business and investment community has accurate information about Papua New Guinea. He said these companies are creating jobs for our people, providing export opportunities for our farmers, and providing the machinery and technical expertise that are helping our economy grow.
We believe very strongly that companies that are now doing business in Papua New Guinea can reassure the business community of France that the returns for the investments they make in Papua New Guinea is quite a healthy return. And that is why we continue to welcome your opportunity to do business with us. I am glad that the European Union and of course France with their support have been able to be a partner in that growth. We have been able to of course deliver our products into the European market with very favorable terms, and that has enabled us to grow the economy.
June 15, 2019 has been announced as the target date for the autonomous region of Bougainville to conduct a referendum to determine its political future. James Tunnis, ABG Acting Secretary for Department of Referendum, announced the target date to members of Port Moresby's Bougainville community last night. The ABG Department of Referendum has highlighted key activity areas to focus on in preparation for this crucial vote.
A target date has now been set for the people of Bougainville to determine their political future. June 15, 2019 has been agreed to as the date by which Bougainvillians vote on whether to become independent. Acting Secretary for the ABG Referendum Department, James Tunnis, made this known during a meeting with members of Port Moresby's Bougainville community. His main purpose, provide Bougainvillians outside of Bougainville an opportunity to hear firsthand the steps being taken to ensure that this referendum exercise is successful. Whilst admitting that the road leading up to the referendum exercise itself will be difficult, Tunnis says they will be focusing on 3 pillars: a stronger collaboration between all parties on Bougainville, a peaceful relationship between the ABG and national government, and international relations between the ABG and the international community.
The policy that we have put in place is to make sure we have an all-inclusive approach. All-inclusive approach to the referendum. And that is why the 2 governments have agreed to have the referendum questions as an activity on its own.
The success of the referendum, according to Mr. Tunnis, will be dependent on peace on Bougainville and Bougainville's ability to be economically self-reliant. Economic self-reliance is something that Bougainville's representatives in the National Parliament have also identified as crucial in ensuring the autonomous region's long-term future. Bougainville Affairs Minister and Regional Member Joe Lera says one way this can be achieved is through the bottom-up development approach, primarily focusing on the cooperative system.
And by this growing the grassroots PPP export company, and by buy more commodities. PPP company and public-private partnership and concept me using. And all cooperatives by owning 70% share below this export company. Na ABC by kisim 20%. Na management group by orisa kisim 10 or 15%.
The minister's sentiments echoed by Port Moresby Bougainville Association President Paul Nerau.
We can't, you and I. Individually it's so hard. You might do a little bit here and there, but together I think we can make some real achievements.
The work of the ABG Referendum Department will be tough, given the limited time until the target date of June 15, 2019. But Mr. Tunnis believes this can be achieved if all parties work together. Merabatulo, National EMTV News.
Patrick Nisera, the Vice President of the Autonomous Bougainville Government, has called for Bougainvillians to reflect on the positive developments on the island. While delivering his keynote message at the 11th anniversary since the establishment of the Autonomous Bougainville Government, the Vice President says Bougainville is moving forward. However, there are changes. Fabian Hakelitz reports from Buka.
11 years celebrating autonomy since the autonomous Bougainville government was recognized as legitimate on June 15, 2005. One of Bougainville's biggest achievements in the last 11 years, Mr. Nisira said, was maintaining peace on the once post-conflict island.
People of Bougainville, let's admit, let's recognize that for the last 11 years, change and we walk lo come up lo Bougainville. Na display change and we come up lo Bougainville. Usa di bring him come up. You me people of Bougainville, you me been bring him come up. All display changes now Bougainville and we walk lo look him today.
While several issues need to be solved before the 2019 referendum, the challenge remains with Bougainvilleans and is to work together to embrace development. Mr. Nisira says the people of Bougainville must have trust and confidence in the political leadership and administrative services that will work together to ensure services are rendered to Bougainville.
You may been fight lo look out him yet. You may been fight lo come up him at display. Look out in people mampla. Lo manage mo na pes mamibla. It's about time. You may lose thinking lo negative something. Na you may focus lo positive something. Na you may try long look more. Try and find more ways lo how. Lo you may can move in Bougainville forward.
Meanwhile, Australia was proud to celebrate the 11th anniversary of autonomy with Bougainville and will continue its mission in delivering services in the autonomous region.
We also acknowledge the good work that's being done by the government of the autonomous region. This is a very difficult job within Bougainville, delivering services and the reach of government to the remote and rural parts of the autonomous region.
Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
Bougainville created history at the 11th anniversary celebration with the first police woman to host a parade. Assistant Commissioner of Police and Deputy Chief of the Bougainville Police Service, Joanne Clarkson, led her team at yesterday's parade.
Yes, when the announcement was made this morning for the parade host to be a woman, including other women, it was an exciting news for those present in today's anniversary celebrations to catch a glimpse of who were the women involved. As the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary will celebrate its 128 years, in history there was no woman who had played the role of a parade host. But today Bougainville created yet another history, setting the benchmark for police women around the country. ACP and Deputy Chief Bougainville Police Service Joanne Clarkson was the parade host.
Joanne Clarkson, big look sabelo you, now all police officers, lo this parade, you host him today.
Other women were Senior Constable Joyce Chera as the escort, Senior Constable Florence Snow as driver, door openers were Constable Lucy Cassia and Rebecca Kenne, while Sheena Cook was the squad commander.
Empower women and encourage women to, to step up, to say, yes, I will try, and yes, I can, and as part of empowering women police right around the country.
Senior Constable Florence Snow was the driver of the parade host and Vice President of the autonomous Bougainville government.
Assistant Commissioner for Bougainville Police as a parade host for today, so to me it was so, it was very special for me today as a driver.
While today's event involved a woman as the parade host, and Clarkson says, although it's small, but it's significant. In Boca, Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
Manu Manu and Gabadi landowners in the Central Province have petitioned the government against the proposed acquisition of land by the state. Governor for Central Province, Kila Hauda, and member for Kairukuhiri, Peter Isoaimo, received the petition yesterday at Manu Manu village. Landowners said they found out about the state acquisition of land from a newspaper advertisement.
Governor Hauda and member Isoaimo made the 2-hour drive up the Hiritano Highway in the Central Province to Manu Manu village to receive the petition from the Manu Manu Gabadi Landowners Association Committee. The 5,000-plus population is fighting to keep its land areas, portion 423, Portion 422 and Portion 406, a total landmass of 680 hectares. The acquisition also encroaches on the people's fishing area that extends further out to sea.
We were actually surprised to see a notice out in the papers telling us that our land had been acquired by the government under compulsory acquisition. And the description of the land and the seafront and all that encroached on our sort of very existence.
Chairman of the committee, John Darroa, said a lot of work was done, culminating in the petition. In the petition, the people are asking the government to revoke the compulsory acquisition of their land. They want treaties to be made, and in consultation with their leaders and the government, they want to mobilize and work out agricultural projects for all the villages concerned. The village leaders found that the land was meant to set up a military base.
Further investigation, we found that there was a satellite photo of the proposed military project here. It was a very big one. From the first one up, the land suggestion to, or the compulsory acquisition, the land that was made was meant for military barracks, and then they will have the training grounds further inland, and then they will have the naval base here at Manu Manu.
Member for Karukuhiri, Peter Isoaimo, condemned officers from within the Lands Department who go about grabbing land from people without consultation.
The Lands Department will have their own version that the land is a state land that they've acquired. The villagers still maintain that it is a customary land, which is an inheritance. The people rejected outright any intentions by the government of the day to use the land for military purposes. Their view really is to ensure a proper development package is put together for communal benefit of the whole big-scale agriculture or economic development.
Central Province Governor Kila Hauda assured the people that the Prime Minister would give this issue priority.
And he's a man of understanding. He understands. He's from Papua New Guinea. He has a land issue. The land issue is a very important issue in our country. Land, when we talk about land, we're talking about a generation that is unborn as well. So I am very pleased the Prime Minister has made a suggestion to make a petition, of which we have made now, and we will take it up with the Prime Minister. And I am confident that the Prime Minister is going to give a positive response to this petition.
Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.3160 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3085 US, $0.4130 Australian dollars, $0.2709 euro, and 32.41 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, copra closed lower, gold and cocoa closed higher, while coffee closed the day unchanged. Palm oil closed higher, while crude oil and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 4 points higher, the ASX closed at 42.40 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 52 points lower. More local and international stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. 41 students from Central Province attending the University of Goroka will return to Port Moresby tomorrow. Central members of Parliament and Governor Kila Hauda have arranged for the evacuation after they were stranded and sought shelter at a lecturer's residence. This follows a fight between factions of students on Tuesday, resulting in the injury of several students and forcing university to suspend classes for 2 weeks.
Governor Kila Hauda today announced that he and other central members of parliament have organized with Air Niugini that the 41 stranded students in Goroka will be returning home.
At the moment we have 41 on the list to come on the plane tomorrow. But there are other students who have already run away with buses. They are on the way to Leh to get a plane or boat to come over to Port Moresby. We have almost 60, I think. Yeah. But those who are still on the ground are definitely coming tomorrow.
He He also said that return will be provided to those students. The total number of Central students is 60 plus, but some have already made their ways home. He also touched on the current UPNG unrest, asking the students to return to class.
All the students to concentrate on the studies because that is what they were sent there for. Your parents are looking at you, and I as the governor is looking at you. You are the leaders for tomorrow, and you are the human resource for tomorrow, and I encourage you to go back to your studies.
The students flying in from Goroka are expected to arrive in Port Moresby tomorrow at 11 a.m. Adelaide Sirox Curry, National, EMTV News.
The Lae City Law and Order Committee attempted to present a petition to Morobe Governor Kelly Naru today, asking the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to step aside. Governor Naru was not in attendance, even though he was invited. Committee members around settlements in Lae City say people are reacting to the unrest at Unitec, clashes at UOG and the shooting of UPNG students. Yesterday, Governor Naru urged all citizens to exercise patience, restraint and let the judicial system handle the allegations against the PM. Bethany Harriman with this report from Lae.
The Lae City Law and Order Committee members gathered today to hand another petition calling on the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to step aside and answer to corruption allegations laid against him. A notable absenteeism was Morobe Governor Kelly Naru, who was supposed to receive the petition today. Present was Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil, who was also invited. Committee members say people in Lae's communities are aware of the shooting of UPNG students, clashes at UOG and the unrest at the University of Technology. The committee chairman Sam Oyaya explains that community leaders have been pushed by members of the community to come out and present this petition.
Upon this land, by symbolic so that people can walk about one time. So a lot of Sumati go back to class. So time Prime Minister you step aside, or Sumati the same time will go class now. You will look at law, you must take a cost long. This is idea.
Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil addressed the committee members and he says the situation shouldn't have been allowed to reach the people. It should have been handled in Parliament.
And these issues that has been raised here, and of course by the students, were issues that we've been raising from the opposition for the last 4 years. There is no new issues here. It's the same old issues, but it's now being echoed out throughout Papua New Guinea.
Yesterday, Morobe Governor Kelly Naru, whilst receiving Momase students from the University of Goroka who were fleeing from clashes at the campus, said the law must be allowed to take its course.
However long it takes, justice will be delivered. What we now have to do is we have to refrain ourselves and restrain ourselves from conduct that is going to be unbecoming or conduct that will cause a breach of the peace. Exercise patience, and with that patience and restraint, wait for justice to be delivered.
Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
The Civil Aviation Safety Authority held its first medical examiners workshop in Port Moresby today. In this workshop, doctors will conduct aviation safety checks on Papua New Guinean pilots, air traffic controllers and engineers. CASA representatives from PNG, Australia and New Zealand participated in the event.
The purpose of the workshop we have here is to bring all our DAMEs, that's designated aviation medical examiners, together and give them up-to-date information on Part 67, which is the rule that covers medical for aviation.
Today is the first day of this 2 days workshop with saw participating Civil Aviation Safety Authority directors from Papua New Guinea, Australia and New Zealand. Their job is to aid the delegation of directors to conduct medical aviation of CASA's workers.
We have 3 regional principal medical officers here. We have PMO from CA New Zealand and we have PMO from Civil Aviation Safety Australia here, and our own PMO, Dr. Robin Seals.
Through this workshop, participants will be updated on civil aviation safety approaches to assess and measure that medical safety of pilots, air traffic controllers and engineers is standardized. Aviation is a challenging field where safety of workers is of paramount concern, and this workshop will enable doctors to making sure that workers are fit. The second phase of this program tomorrow will involve the inspection of Air Niugini 737 aircraft and its control towers. In addition, a safety checkup will be carried out to assess health of pilots sitting in a confined position while flying planes for a long time.
Hopefully, at the end of this workshop, we will also have a medical manual for our Damies. And it'll give them guidelines as to how they are to provide medical and the standards that we would like them to meet.
With its promising end, directors are anticipating it to be conducted annually. Eric Arukma, National EMTV News.
A response was made today by the Provincial Elementary Training Coordinator for Morobe regarding the elementary training fee cost of 2,800 kina. Irene Koreka says the fee was endorsed and approved by the Governing Council of Balob Teachers College in Leh and not by the Provincial Education Division. He said the training will commence on a later date as preparations are still underway.
Harin Koreka, the Provincial Elementary Training Coordinator, says Balob Teachers College will now conduct the Elementary Teachers Training Program. The college functions under the Teachers Education Division under the Department of Education. Koreka says the Governing Council of the college endorsed and approved the training fee of 2,800 kina.
So whatever fees that is charged is done by the administration of the Balob as well as the Governing Council. So if anyone who is interested about the fees, and who is questioning why and how, you can refer to Balob Teachers College, the Governing Council.
The program is a new approach taken by elementary teachers in Morobe Province. The training will be held at Elsbeck in Finchafen District. It is a 3-month program in which the teachers will graduate with a certificate at the end of this year.
The caretaker administrator at Helsbeck is calling on the teachers to pay up the training fee in order to attend the training.
That is more cheaper than they would go to Papua New Guinea Education Institute for the similar kind of training, which is 6,200 kina.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
Turning overseas now, the Egyptian-led investigation committee has reported the main locations of wreckage from the Egypt Airjet that crashed in the eastern Mediterranean last month have been identified by a deep ocean search vessel yesterday. The John Lethbridge, a search boat contracted by the Egyptian government, is working against the clock to locate the black boxes that investigators say will help explain why flight MS-804 crashed on May 19, killing all 66 people on board.
Signals from the flight data recorders needed to track them down on the seabed are expected to expire on June 24. The committee said in a statement the John Lethbridge has provided the first images of wreckage to investigators and a search team on board. Along with investigators will now draw a map of the wreckage's distribution spots. It was not immediately known which parts of the plane have been found, nor whether the 2 flight recorders were nearby. The recorders, one for voice and another for data, were contained in the tail of the Airbus A320. The statement added previously collected debris will also be handed over to the investigation committee after standard procedures are completed by prosecutors who are currently holding it for forensic evidence. To recover the black boxes some 3,000 meters below the sea's surface, investigators will need to pinpoint the signals to within a few meters and establish whether the pingers are still connected to the recorders. Lorraine Gabina, EMTV World News.
A huge financial boosting for the PNG Kapuls. I'll have that story among others in Trukai Sports when we come back.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The National Gaming Control Board, through its Community Benefit Fund, has committed 250,000 kina to the PNG Sports Foundation to sponsor the country's national football team. A delighted captain of the PNG national team, David Muta, and representatives of the PNG Football Association were on hand to receive the cheque on behalf of the team.
In congratulating the PNG Kapuls for being the runners-up in the OFC Nations Cup, the National Gaming Control Board has thrown its support with 250,000 kina funding. Chief Executive Officer Ms. Imelda Agon acknowledged the Prime Minister and his government for their efforts in building sports infrastructure, which has resulted in many international sporting events being hosted in the country and many more to come.
NGCB has been going out and giving to the people of this nation. We're not only giving to assisting the government, but we've been giving to various projects throughout the country. And we believe in doing so, we are doing our part in helping our communities throughout the country.
Also, PNG Sports Foundation CEO Peter Chamelili said with the current infrastructure available, producing superstars in football and other sporting code is inevitable.
This is a vision that we'll continue to see more of our teams aspire at the highest level. And what we saw last weekend with our men's team, for a very short, limited time, given their circumstances, they've defied all odds to make us all proud.
A humble Kapuls captain David Mota, flanked by Vice Captain Raymond Gunamba, thanked National Gaming Control Board for their generous support and added that it is exciting to see young Papua New Guineans persevere in their football career and build their capacity to international standards, and this money will surely go a long way.
On behalf of all the my boys, PNG Kapuls boys, and myself, we just want to say thank you very much to National Gaming Board for their support, and to the Prime Minister for their support. And I think this kind of support motivates the boys with their games, and I think I was so happy for this kind of support. And I think on behalf of all the boys, we just want to say thank you very much and God bless you all.
Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Papua New Guinea men's national football team will face Malaysia in a friendly match tomorrow at the Sir John Guy Stadium. International Food Corporation has come on board to sponsor the event.
Following the outstanding performance of the PNG men's national football team in the OFC Nations Cup, many business houses have come on board to support the PNG men's team. IFC, the producers of Besta, have supported PNG FA over the years through their annual Besta FA Cup and the Besta Youth Development Program. They announced to sponsor the men's friendly tournament between PNG and Malaysia tomorrow.
I would rather say that with this event, it will inspire our local grassroots soccer in Papua New Guinea. IFC has been with soccer in Papua New Guinea for a long time. I think more than 6 years that we have been participating in the development program, what the President has mentioned earlier. Not only that, in future we want to do more for the soccer development in Papua New Guinea.
PNG Football Association President David Chung says he was grateful for the continuous support.
And we are very happy for the sponsorship of Besta because it comes a long way. They've been with us for a long time, and PNGFA really appreciates their assistance.
IFC presented a check of 16,000 kina to Chung, following a successful run by the men's national team who made it to the grand final playoff at the recent OFC Nations Cup. The team has now commenced on a journey towards Russia 2018. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The Fairfax Volleyball Association is gearing up for the 2016 National Championships in September. Fairfax has been a stronghold in the senior women's division over the years and is set to defend their title again this year.
Over the years, Fairfax Volleyball has been one of the top volleyball associations which has produced numerous national representatives. This year, Fairfax is gearing up to defend their women's title in September here in the nation's capital. In previous years, the men have proven their worth, giving champions Vabukori Amateur Volleyball Association a run for their money by taking the game to the deciding set.
In the men's team, we almost beat Wawa. In the, I think it was in the preliminary final in 2014. Based on that, and also a couple of good youngsters coming through the ranks, I believe that we can go better from what we did in 2014.
Fairfax has an under-21 division which sees raw young talent come to compete and develop their skills. The pathway has seen many young players develop and become competitive in the top grade division. This year at the National Championships, Fairfax will face tough competition from NCD Volleyball Association, Tatana Amateur Volleyball Association and Vabukori Amateur Volleyball Association, who every year pose as a threat. Dion Kombeng, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. With the 11th Black Orchid Tournament looming, President of the Autonomous Region of Bougainville Rugby Football Union, Peter Chamlili Jr., has given praise to the Code of Rugby Union for paving the way forward for youth in Bougainville.
For me, doing what I do is for the love of sport, and particularly for rugby union. I mean, in the position that I hold, I must love all sports. I mustn't be one-eyed. But I know that what sport can do for us and to our region, and what it can do for a young men and women who aspire to have what Papua New Guineans and our Papua New Guinea children are having today. So through the sports of rugby, and particularly rugby union, hopefully we can have that inspire and set a platform for an environment where we'll continue to produce good men and women that will contribute to Bougainville, but as a nation.
The Hiri Cup Super Challenge, which will be in July, will have its trial matches and selections this weekend. Organised by the Capital Rugby Union, the trial matches as well as the actual competition will have players from all 12 CRU clubs participating. The Hiri Cup is expected to boost the selection process for the National Rugby Championships. The Hiri Cup will kick off on the 25th of this month and continues to the 2nd of July before it ends on the 9th.
From the 12 CRU clubs, they have been divided into 4 Hiri teams, respectively representing Mosby South, Mosby East, Mosby West and Mosby Central. The name of the Super Challenge Hiri Cup is in respect to the traditional Hiri Moale trade, and the 4 teams are Abao Rigo Greens, with CRU clubs Defence, Spartans and Vikings representing Mosby South. Wanderers, Nova and Super Chiefs playing under Laura Bada Reds representing Central Mosby. Harlequins, Valley Hunters and Crusaders are playing under Lahara Yellows representing Mosby East. Mirigini Blues have University Piggies, Juggernauts and Brothers representing Mosby West. After this weekend's trial matches, each Super Challenge team will have a 30-man team to take on the Hiri Cup. Mirigini Blues have University Piggies, Juggernauts and Brothers representing Mosby West.
For this weekend, we have the trial matches for the franchise teams. So basically, CRU have asked the clubs in each franchise teams to nominate their best 15 players. So for example, Lara Yellows, Harlequins nominate their 15. Crusaders will nominate their 15 and Valley Hunters do so. So they have a squad of 45, and from that squad of 45 playing in a trial match this weekend in 20-minute quarters, they select a 30-man squad for their franchise, for the yellow team. So that's the same for the other 3 franchise teams.
After this weekend's trial matches, each Super Challenge team will have a 30-man team to take on the Hiri Cup.
We also have the under-19s following the seniors in the concept. The seniors players are selected from the A reserve and the premiers, while in the under-19s it's only for the under-19s players.
From the Hiri Cup, selections will be made for the teams Boromas and Gaigais to compete in the National Rugby Championship, which commences on July 23rd. Dini Rose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather details and the latest on Matthew Demaro's arrest when we return.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, fine in Port Moresby and Daru, evening showers for Kerma and a shower or 2 for Alotau and Popondetta. In the Momase region, a shower or 2 for Ley and Madang, chances of evening showers for Wewak and thundery showers in Bunnymoor. In the New Guinea Islands, thundery showers for Lorengau, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka. Shower or two for Kavieng and showers in Kimbe. And lastly, in the Highlands region, a shower or two for Mount Hagen and evening showers for Goroka, Mendi, Wabeg and Kundiawa. And before we go in news just in, National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Director, Chief Superintendent Matthew Damaru has been charged for deprivation of personal liberty and abuse of office. His arrest is in relation to the arrest of the Supreme and National Court Judge, Justice Sir Bernard Sakora. Damaru was arrested this afternoon and charged after almost 2 hours of questioning at the Police Internal Investigation Units in Port Moresby. He was taken to the Waigani Police Station to be formally charged. And that's all for Thursday's news. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Lorraine Genya. Pleasant viewing. Good night.